We are live now.
Good morning, everyone. I, Sonali Prakash, the moderator for today's session, would like to extend a very warm welcome to each one of you who has joined us for this informative session on the next generation education system and requirements. In this era of digitalization, there has been an evolution in the education field. This session has been organized to make you aware of the new educational methods and techniques and its importance, especially in the formative years. We have with us some parents whose children will be joining us from the next session. And there are some parents who have a lot of queries related to virtual classes and its impact on children. Each one of us is looking forward to have an emotionally balanced, socially apt, and moralistic offspring to carry forward our legacy in the world. At this point of time, it may seem like a distant dream to most of us due to their current behavior and attitude. All of us have been going through a tough time during this pandemic, especially children. This is their age of engaging socially, and instead they are stuck at home and don't know how to spend their time constructively. We have with us today experts in the field of education with a vast subject knowledge and experience. I feel immense pleasure in introducing our panelist, Mrs. Indu Kohli, Head Mistress, St. Anandram Jaipuria School, Vasundhara, Ghaziabad. Indu ma'am exemplifies the ideal of a rare mentor who lives and breathes to improve the life of her students and colleagues. She has been a part of St. Anandram Jaipuria School Vasundhara right from its inception and has contributed immensely for the growth and development of the school.
Thank you, Sonali.
Welcome, ma'am. Along with her, it's a pleasure to introduce Mrs. Kabila Rawat, Pre-Primary Coordinator at St. Anandram Jaipuria School, Vasundhara, Ghaziabad, who has been with our institution for over 16 years. Mrs. Rawat has been a standing pillar of our school. Her love and fondness for the children has been the driving force for creating a strong foundation for the children here at Jaipuria. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Sonali. Thank you.
The resource person for today's webinar is our school counselor, Ms. Vardha, who has more than 11 years of experience in the field of mental health and has worked with different age groups at various schools, colleges, and universities. She has published a research paper in an international journal on the topic of optimism and resilience. Today, she will shed light on the topic Gen Next Education and guide us further about the milestones and developments in children as per their age. I would now hand over the session to Ms. Vardha.
Thank you so much, Sonali ma'am, for such a warm introduction. Before we begin the webinar, I would like to talk about a story of a person called as Michelle Sullivan. Michelle is currently the president of Caterpillar Foundation USA, and she is a very dynamic personality. Michelle has delivered a TED talk on the topic of asking for help is strength, not a weakness. And Michelle, in her TED talk, mentions one of her early childhood challenges which she had faced. So, in this TED talk, what she starts her TED talk with is that when she was about to enter her kindergarten, what happened was she was very excited about meeting all the new children, meeting the new teacher, and getting to play with all those children and meeting her peers. She was extremely excited about the same, and with that excitement, she entered the class. Once she entered the class, what happened was that she was introduced to her teacher officially, and the teacher told her that we are yet to begin the class. Therefore, why don't you go and join the group of other children who are already playing? So Michelle went ahead, introduced herself to all those children, and started playing. And she was so happy and excited, that she kept playing and she was enjoying each and every single moment of that experience. While they were all playing, what happened is one of the kid pointed towards Michelle and said that, why are you so short? And Michelle did not even realize that it was something which was said to her. Instead, she was again busy playing, and she kept herself engaged in enjoying the experience of playing with all those children. After a point of time, a girl in a pink skirt suddenly stood up, kept her hands on her waist, and said that, yeah, you look different. Why are you so short? And suddenly, the attention of every single child in that room had shifted to Michelle, and everybody started looking at Michelle in a strange manner. Michelle, who was so full of confidence, enthusiasm, and happiness, suddenly started losing it all. After a point of time when she was supposed to be engrossed in the classmates, she was sitting alone in a quiet place, and she was not part of them because she was faced with the first ever challenge of her life, wherein she realized that she looks different from others. And then she understood that she dons a rare form of dwarfism. वो एक अलग तरीके के बौनेपन का शिकार थी. Or even after all that, the most important thing of all this entire scenario is that she showed resilience. Resilience is our capacity to bounce back even in the face of challenges. And that resilience is shown by Michelle, and we all who are attending this particular webinar today have been showing the same kind of resilience while going through this pandemic of corona. This COVID 19 pandemic has affected our life in a positive as well as negative ways. It has impacted our life in many different ways. To discuss some positive impacts, let us go on to next slide and discuss the positive impacts and negative impacts of the COVID 19 pandemic. The pandemic of COVID 19 led to some positive changes in our lives, such as the river Yamuna had been rejuvenated for a certain point of time. We also have been breathing fresh air in Delhi for in the month of April, May, and June, and that was a very good thing to do. And after that, apart from that, we all have got such a wonderful opportunity to spend time with all our family members. We have been used to eating home cooked food. For almost last 8 9 months, most of us did not go out and eat any outside food, and we started valuing the home cooked food. Our tolerance has raised tremendously, which is a great achievement which has been given to us through this pandemic. We have also started spending quality time with children. So there are n number of positive impacts of this entire pandemic. But yes, this pandemic has also impacted our life in a bit negative manner as well. So it has definitely affected our physical as well as mental health. How has it affected our physical health? It is pretty obvious. All of you know that the pandemic in itself, the COVID 19 illness in itself affects our physical health. We haven't been able to get out of the house and exercise as much as we used to do earlier. And it has also affected our mental health. How has it affected our mental health? We all have been living under a constant pressure of getting the disease, or contracting the disease, contracting the infection of the disease. We are also worried that none of our loved ones should get the disease. We all were really really scared listening to the numbers which kept coming from Italy, and they were really disturbing. We also were scared due to the numbers which were getting bombarded from us to us from our TV channels in different age and times. So yes, all these things created a mental, a psychological pressure on all of us, and still we kept going further, which is again showing resilience. Next is our socialization had also got impacted. How did our socialization get impacted? We have been, India has been country of celebrations and festivals. We have had so many major festivals like Durga Puja, Diwali, and the worst part was we could not meet each other in physical presence, although we made that thing also fruitful and we made sure that we meet everybody virtually, which was a great thing. But then it also affected our socialization. Next is the entire lockdown helped our economy hit rock bottom. And there are many families which we all know of who suffered from financial crisis, and our culture of work has also changed drastically. We all were so used to going to office and working from there, and suddenly we all have got our entire office to our home, and we all are working from home. And this particular thing has, initially it was a very beautiful phase that we all are at home in our own leisure time working, but it has also led to certain conditions such as burnout, family fatigue, and all other psychological stresses related to work from home. Lastly, this particular pandemic has affected our entire education system. How has it affected our entire education system? Our entire, there are many schools at this point of time in India who haven't even started functioning completely, especially in rural India. You must be knowing that this many schools haven't even started functioning fully. And in urban India, most of the schools shifted to digitalization of education. We all have gone to digital learning, and we need to give a hats off to our teachers who have done commendable job in keeping the children and parents engaged throughout the process of education and learning. So this entire process of education and learning has kept us all busy, and it has kept all of us psychologically engaged. So this entire pandemic has given so many negative impacts to us. Yet let me tell you that it could not affect certain things in life, such as it could not affect the growth and development of children. So, when the pandemic could not affect the growth and development of children, also the pandemic could not stop us from celebrating any of the birthdays or any of the marriage anniversaries and weddings. We all have been celebrating them in the most gracious and fulfilled manners as we can due to this entire pandemic. So, yes, let us go ahead and talk about the domains of development. So, there are certain domains of development which we would be discussing. First of all is gross motor skills. So, I am going to discuss only age 2 of the children, and I'll be discussing the uh, milestones which a 2-year-old child is supposed to achieve, the milestones in gross motor development, the milestones in fine motor development, the milestones in self help, and so on. So, let us go ahead and discuss the gross motor skill development. So, gross motor skills are basically our ability to engage our major muscles, like large muscles into activity. For example, engaging our arm muscles, engaging our thigh muscles, engaging our calf muscles into a particular activity. So a 2-year-old child is expected to be able to climb up the stairs while holding the rail, putting each foot on each staircase. A 2-year-old child is also expected to kick a ball on his own. Come on, we all loved football at some or the other point of time. So, the child should be able to kick a ball. The child should be able to throw a ball over his head. The throwing ball from here, from the shoulder length, is pretty easy, but the child should be able to throw the ball over his head or his or her head. These are the gross motor skills developments which we expect in a 2-year-old child. Next is fine motor skills development. In fine motor skills, the small muscles such as muscles of our fingers, the muscles of our wrists are involved. And in that, the child is supposed to imitate a circle. Child should be able to imitate an entire circle. The child should be able to draw a horizontal lines. See, as children, we all have been engaged in all these things quite frequently. I precisely remember, अगर हमें पेपर पेन या पेपर पेंसिल नहीं मिलती थी तो हम तो दीवारों पे रंगना शुरू कर देते थे. एंड आई एम श्योर आजकल के बच्चे भी यही सब कर रहे हैं. सो Yeah, so the child should be able to draw and draw a circle and a horizontal line. Next is in self help, the child is supposed to without any buttons or without any chain, the child should be able to take off his or her own shirt, should be able to carry a small glass of water or something of that sort. The child should be able to differentiate small objects from large objects. The child should also be able to open the door knobs, the simple door knobs, not the complicated ones, but the simple door knobs can be opened by child. The child should be able to pull a door and open it. So these are some small things which we expect in self help. Next is the social and emotional development. So in social and emotional development, we expect the child to go further and recognize known people from unknown people. After that, what we expect the child to do is that the child should be able to match objects and pictures with each other. The child is also supposed to supposed to express his or her emotions in two letter words or so. Lastly, when we come to speech and language development, in speech and language development, what happens is the child is expected to know more than 50 words. Okay, child knows a lot of words these days, but they should be in more than 50. For example, the child should be able to recognize a dog, the child should be able to recognize a cat, child should be able to recognize a cow. The child's language should be 50, more than 50% intelligible. So we are supposed to understand whatever the child is saying in more than 50% of the times. Lastly, the child has to also use telegraphic speech, which is, the child should be able to form sentence out of two words. For example, cat sleep. So the child is asking, did the cat fall off to sleep? Or baby smile. The child wants baby to smile. So such kind of sentences can be formed by the child. So how the entire early childhood education and this entire schooling system helps child grow from the milestones the child has achieved at his or her own home. All right, so let us start discussing the creative development of the child, which happens in early childhood school education. So in schools, what happens is child gets inspired by creative work done by other adults as well as other children. So a lot of creative work has been shared. Teachers share a lot of creative work with children. They use puppets, they use artifacts, they use beautiful teaching and educational aids while teaching children in kindergarten. The child also gets inspired by looking at work of other children. So let us say the child sees that somebody else has drawn a rocket and the child also wants to do the same. So child gets inspired creatively and they express themselves creatively, which is one of the most important and human tendency of any being in this world. So we are all creative, therefore we are all human beings. Next is in the social and emotional domain of development, child gets to talk with so many number of different children. The child talks to children, the child engages socially with children, the child also expresses emotions. One fine day I happened to visit a class of pre-primary, and one child suddenly started crying due to some reason, and you will not believe, and I myself was so surprised. All other children were telling that particular child that, oh, stop crying, why are you crying, what happened? And I was so happy to see their emotional reaction. They could all empathize with that particular child who was crying. And all this happens due to the socialization and exposure that the education provides the child. Next is physical development. In physical development, what happens is that the child engages in gross motor skill activities as well as fine motor skill activities. Schools get the child involved in some or the other kind of physical exercises, such as keeping waist, hands on waist and jumping. It's a very simple exercise, to be seen from our point of view as adults, but for a child doing that is a challenge in itself, because the child is involving four large groups of muscles in that particular activity. It is very simple for us, but it can be challenging for the child. So it's very important that the child gets exposure to the physical development through gross motor skill development as well as fine motor skill development. Lastly, child also gets to engage in different sorts of plays while the child is engaged into physical development. So there are many types of plays which are available, but I'm going to discuss very few over here. First one is unoccupied play, in which the child completely indulges and engrosses in himself or herself while playing. So child does not need anybody. Child can be left alone and child keeps playing by himself or with himself. Next is onlooker play. In onlooker play, what happens is the child is observing other children who are playing. And after that comes parallel play. In parallel play, what happens is the child is playing on a particular thing. Let us say the child is drawing something, and at the same time another child is drawing something, and both the children are drawing and discussing what they're drawing and having fun together. They're parallelly playing with each other, and that is why it is called as parallel play. So child gets to develop this parallel play, and it helps the child into his social emotional development as well as physical development. Lastly, the language development happens due to the schooling, because what happens is the child gets exposure to a lot of different kinds of dialects of the same language. For example, Hindi is a language which we speak in so many different dialects. हम खुद realize नहीं कर पाते हैं, लेकिन हमारे सबके बहुत ही अलग अलग dialects आते हैं, especially जब हम हिंदी में बात करते हैं. So right, a child learns about different dialects. Child also learns and improves his vocabulary, because different children have learned different words in their home background, and they come down together and discuss all those words, and chit chat with each other, socially engage in each other. Lastly, let us go to intellectual and cognitive development, but I am going to discuss that in details in the next slide. So let me share some other small things which are benefits of early childhood education, such as early childhood education keeps the child physically active. It also keeps child psychologically engaged, which is one of the most important important goals of education, that the child should be psychologically engaged. It also lets child engage with his peers, especially it's not possible since we all are living in nuclear families. So the child has to engage with peers and should involve in parallel play. The early childhood education or the entire schooling system also challenges child in age appropriate manner. It's very important that the child gets challenged in age appropriate manner. I cannot ask a 3-year-old child a question which says that what is 11,117 plus 12,818. We cannot ask such questions to a child who is 2 or 3 years old. We have to challenge the child in an age appropriate manner, which happens during the schooling. It also helps child understand the entire process of learning, because the child has to get used to that particular process of learning. And it also saves child in from the entire loss of a year of development and growth. So let us go to next slide and discuss brain development. As you can see in this particular graph, the child develops his, it's low sensitivity and high sensitivity for children. So the child's as the postnatal birth, like after the birth of child, what happens is child's vision, child's emotional control, child's conceptualization, child's hearing, all these things are heightened. They are highly sensitive for a certain period of time. This time period depends and differs from child to child, but most of the children, like approximately more than 60% of the children, it happens till the age of 6 years. For few children it happens till the age of 4 years, and for few children it happens till the age of 8 years, but for most of the children it happens till the age of 6 years. So these 6 years are very crucial years of development of the entire brain for the child. what happens is that child develops a, a layer in his or her own brain which is called as myelination. Okay, a layer called as myelin grows eventually as the child moves till 6 years of age. This particular layer, in layman terms we call it gray matter. So this particular gray matter helps the child understand concepts, grasp languages. It helps the child in cognitive development. It helps child think in a particular manner. you know so this particular development is extremely important for child, and that can be done only when the child gets appropriately challenged. The child has to have face age appropriate challenges, so that child goes through those challenges, child achieves what he needs to achieve, and gets that boost to his or her own self esteem and raises his or her own confidence. See, it's very important to understand that when a small plant, when a sapling is raising, you can turn and twist its branches the way you want to. But once that thing has grown into entire big tree, we cannot do that. If we try to do that, it will either harm us, and it is also going to harm the tree or the sapling itself. So it's very important that we utilize this particular time of first 6 years for the best growth and development of the child. So it's very important that we do not lose any years in this particular age, because again, it is going to have a huge loss for the child himself. Let us go to the next slide, and that is about positive parenting. So let me in brief explain you what positive parenting is. So positive parenting is a kind of parenting in which the parenting is done through mutual respect. All right, so the child respects the parent, and invariably the parent also respects the child, respects child's choices, respects child's decisions, respects child's communication. All right, and in positive parenting, what happens is child learns things in a very indirect and subtle manner. So the child learns things through modeling, in which the parent practices what the parent wants child to practice. For example, if you want your child to keep his or her own plate after each and every meal in the sink of the kitchen, you start doing it on your own. When you start practicing it, the child will observe you and eventually start taking his or her own plate to the sink. And that is how you teach children in a indirect manner. So for this entire positive parenting, the first and foremost important tip is to listen to your child. It's very important that the child feels that he or she is being heard of. The child, see, we all love attention, let us agree and accept it, that we all love attention. I would give you example. Let us say one of you gets to see Deepika Padukone tomorrow, and you get to click a picture with her, and what happens is, like, you go very happy with it. Why? Because you know that this particular pic of yours is going to get a lot of attention. So we all love attention, and so do children. So when you listen to the child feels that the child is attended to. The child feels that the needs and the wants of the child are attended, and the child also feels that importance, that I am somebody to whom his or her own parents listen to. This gives a huge boost to child's self esteem, which is one of very important aspects of life. Next is, it also boosts child's confidence to a next level, because the child is attended to, the child is paid attention to. Next is, set clear expectations and consequences. See, it's very important that you set up clear expectations of the kind of behavior you want child to have. For example, let us say you expect your child to play. Of course, the children love playing, and they are playing with certain toys, and the child is playing with the toys, and you expect that once the playing is done, you expect that the child should put all his toys in a particular box or basket. All right, you say it in the beginning of the child's play, that beta, I expect you to when once you're done with playing, I expect you to keep all your toys in a box or in a basket. After the child is done with his or her own playing, you can give a gentle reminder that beta, remember मैंने आपको कहा था that you have to play, keep your toys in the basket or box. If the child is still not following your instructions, you can give a stern warning to the child. If the child is still not doing it, you can always take away a particular privilege from the child, such as, let us say the child was supposed to watch a TV for half an hour. You can take away that privilege and say, बेटा आपने ये नहीं किया, इसके लिए आज आपको टीवी देखने नहीं मिलेगा. So that is how you set clear cut expectations, and you also deliver the consequences only after appropriate amounts of warnings. Next is pick your battles. See, all the children are learning and growing in the most rapid phase, and we want to catch them everywhere, and we want them to learn things in a particular manner, rather in the right manner according to us. So we want that to happen, but if you keep picking child on every single thing, the child is going to get frustrated, irritated, and the child will feel less valued, which is again what we do not want them to feel. We want them to feel important, loved, and appreciated and cared for. So you need to pick your battles. Let us say, if we take example, let us take 4 battles per for the time being. Let us see that you are going to check the child on these 4 things. Both the parents should do it together, that they are checking the child on 4 things. Once there is considerable amount of improvement in those 4 things, what happens is that you go ahead and choose next 4 things. So you need to be vigilant about what are the battles you want to fight at a particular point of time. Next is prefer to talking to child at child's level. What happens is, when we adults, all of us stand taller than the children. When we talk from our standpoint, what happens is the child feels that we are trying to dominate the children, we are trying to be authoritative in nature. Okay, sorry, authoritarian in nature. Whereas what we want the child to be communicated is the child is equally important, and therefore we need to kneel down, we need to come to child's level, give an eye contact to the child. With eye contact to the child, both of you are on equal levels, and then you help child understand a particular thing. The child will understand it far better. Next is practice assertion. See, many a times the children, they get attracted to so many different and beautiful things, and they want this, they want that, they want every single thing which is available in the world. But what is important is, as parent, we need to understand and realize that each and every single thing which is available in the world is not as important for the child's growth and development. And therefore it's important to be consistently assertive. We should be able to say no to the child even if the child is throwing a tantrum. For that, you can definitely use the assertive, the going to the child's level. All right, you need to go down to the child's level and explain the child why this particular thing is not so important for child. Once you do that, what happens is the child mostly understands, and even after that, if the child is throwing tantrum, you should always stick to your no, because consistency is one of the most important things in the entire growth and development of the child. So you need to be consistently being assertive and be firm about whatever you're trying to say. Lastly, create a child friendly space for timeout. So what is important is that it's an American concept called as timeout, in which what happens is that when a child is going through certain overwhelmed kind of emotions, you give out some time to the child to be alone, to spend time with his or her own emotions, to be present with those emotions fully. So you prepare a child friendly space in your own house. It can be a small corner jahan pe there is nothing which can harm the child, where a child can sit peacefully and quietly for few minutes. Depending on your child's age, it can be 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes. The child sits there calms himself or herself down, and then you address the child and address the child's emotions, saying that, beta, what had happened, why did you react in this particular manner, and this was the right thing to do, that was the, this is how we react, this is how we are supposed to react. You can discuss all these things with the child once the time out is over. Now, let's go to the next slide, and that is about the management of children in the digital era. It's very important that we manage our children in the digital era, and I completely understand the concerns all the parents are facing at this point of time regarding the child management in the digital era. So, to begin with, the first and foremost important thing is to follow a routine. Okay, the child has to have a proper schedule of the day which the child follows. For example, the child wakes up at a particular time, the child gets ready, the child also eats breakfast at a particular time, then child involves himself or herself in play or education or any such kind of thing, the child goes off to sleep at a particular time. And all of us, believe me, all of us need to have a particular routine or schedule to our life, because that is what keeps us disciplined. I am sure all of us are doing it consciously or unconsciously, but still, for children, we have to be consciously doing it. Next is the child has to engage in exercise daily. Rather, each one of us has to engage in some sort of physical exercise on every single day basis. All right. So the parents, what parents can do is parents can themselves get into physical activity with children. All of you can jump, all of you can dance, all of you can practice yoga, you can practice some zumba dancing or any such kind of thing to keep the child physically engaged. Next is set limits on screen time. For a child, it's very important to have, see, we all are living in the world full of screens. At this point of time in India, each person, I had read a research recently in which they had mentioned that there are more mobile phones in India than the population of India. Each person has approximately two phones with them, especially in urban India and in rural India as well, because that is what the numbers say. So we are so very, like, we are rather, we are like full of screens everywhere. You go in your living room, there is TV, you are constantly with your mobile, you're on your laptop all the time. So we are like surrounded by screens. The people, we are surrounded by less people and more number of screens these days, which is irony. So yeah, so we need to set certain limits on the screen time of the child. Screen, what are screens, and the TV, the mobile, the laptop, the iPad, iPhone, everything is screen. And we have to limit the screen time to 3 to 4 hours per day, not more than that. That involves TV watching, that involves education, that involves videos, every single thing. Set that limit and practice it on everyday basis. Next is prepare a designated place for work. It's very important that the child knows that this particular place is where I learn from, this particular place is where I study from. This particular place is for my entertainment, but this particular place which is well lit, which has some greenery around it, which has the laptop or the screen on the 30 to 45-degree angle from the vision of the child. All these small things have to be taken care of, and they have to be practiced while setting a separate designated place for work. And believe me, as adults also, we need to have a separate place for work as well, because otherwise we are going off to sleep with all the stress which our workplace had given us today. So it's very important that we, all of us, need to have a designated place for work. Lastly, sorry, not lastly, we have two more points to go. Communicate often with children. You need to communicate with your child on a regular basis. And what do we communicate with the child about? We need to do the specific thing of communicating emotions. आप खुश हैं, आप अपने इमोशंस बयां कीजिए. आपको अगर टेंशन हो रहा है, आपको दुख हो रहा है, if you're sad, communicate those emotions with children, because that opens a vast area of communicating emotions for the child, and the child also feels comfortable and confident while communicating his or her emotions with you. So it's very important that you communicate with your child on a regular basis. Lastly, let us practice digital detox once a week. Let us decide a particular day in the entire week, mostly Sunday, since it's all convenient for most of us, and you can decide that in this particular room, there would be no screen, and the child will spend most of the time in that particular room on Sunday. All right, the child will not be exposed to any of the screens. See, as adults, I completely understand it's very difficult for us to stay without screens because we have so many things. We contact people socially on screens, and we cannot stay away from screens basically. So you can access screens in a designated room, and the child is sitting in a designated room which has no screens at all, and child engages into physical activities, child engages into play, child engages into communication, child engages into spending quality time with the parents. All right, all that can be done on a particular Sunday of the entire week, and that is how you can spend quality time with your child and also keep the child away from screens for digital detoxification of the child. Lastly, to conclude the entire session, I would like to quote an African proverb which says that it takes an entire village to raise a child. And believe me, a school in itself comprises an entire village. There are number of adults, there are number of children, and the child gets to learn so many things from all those elements of that entire schooling process. So it's very important that the child gets to engage himself or herself psychologically into the entire schooling process. That is where I conclude, and I hand over the session to Sonali ma'am. Thank you so much everyone for patiently listening.
Very, very informative. Thank you, Varda ma'am, for the enriching session. It so very clearly shows the importance of structured learning in the early years to make a strong foundation. I am sure that the tips shared by Varda ma'am will help us in grooming and monitoring our child's growth. Parenting. In fact, positive parenting is not that easy. The right environment at home and in school is very, very important. Before I proceed further, I would like to quote Ken Robinson. He said, all children start their school careers with sparkling imaginations, fertile minds, and a willingness to take risks with what they think. Keeping these milestones in mind, we have provided a robust and flexible infrastructure to give the best facilities to our young learners, and I would like to take you through a virtual tour of it. Education is our passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for it today. So to prepare the young minds for future, we aim at the overall development of the students. As an old saying goes, too much of work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Our infrastructure gives equal importance to play, creativity, talents, and supports interesting learning methods. Areas like splash pool and sensory garden excites children and also helps in learning the physical development in children, along with enjoyment. To enhance talents, we have visual and performing arts studio. Books are our best friend. To inculcate reading habit in students, we have well-stocked school libraries, along with reading corners, class libraries, e-libraries. All children are unique. Their learning patterns are different from the others. Our multiple intelligence room gives each one of them an opportunity to explore concepts as per their interest and intelligence. Similarly, use of smart learning system increases the interaction of teachers and students as they follow each other in the process, and it becomes easy for teachers as well to keep a track on students' learning path. Also, the use of smart classes and modern technology eases the learning process for all students. Multipurpose halls and spacious auditoriums of the school give students the platform to showcase their talents and boost their confidence. Further, to give hands-on experience and to develop scientific skills, we have different scientific labs and centers, graphic design labs. They are the interactive learning laboratories. These help students to remember the studies in a better way by conducting their own experiments. It gives students first-hand experience and offers better opportunity for learning. Maths Lab and Atal Incubation Center for Critical Thinking and Problem Solving Skills. When they are observing various things and carrying out many different experiments, their reasoning skills are honed and they will start to think deeply on those concepts and theories. Wordsworth Language Lab for Linguistic Development, which makes students proficient and more confident in the languages they are learning, and they tend to start using these languages in their daily routine. With the kind of grooming and facilities at St. Anandram Jaipuria School Vasundhara, we are proud to state that St. Anandram Jaipuria was ranked first in Ghaziabad by the Education World 2020-21 rankings. The survey further ranks us 7th in UP, 19th in Delhi NCR, and 31st in India. In addition to this, we have attained many accolades in the last 3 years in technology and innovation in different fields. We have been awarded International School Award by British Council for promoting internationalism. We are also a Microsoft Showcase School featuring among the elite schools of the world. We have been awarded the Green School Award in 3 consecutive years, in 3 years in a row, for preserving and protecting nature. The school's Atal Tinkering Lab has been recognized as one of the top 35 labs in Delhi by Niti Aayog, which is a Government of India enterprise. We are proud to have All India rank holders for 2 consecutive years in a row. The most splendid moment was when our principal cum director, Manju Rana ma'am, received a prestigious national award to teachers by the President of India in 2019. 5 students were facilitated by the Chief Minister for their exemplary result. The Jaipuria management has recently launched Samarthya Teachers Training Academy of Research because they believe that continuous development for teachers, parents, and students is of great importance. To enhance the scientific concepts and critical thinking, we have learning processes like design thinking, PBL, science on wheels, STEM, experiential learning. Before going further, I would just like you to recall your school days. How many of you liked science? These steps have been taken to make subjects more interesting. As per CBSE, art is integrated in the curriculum. For social emotional development, also forms an integral part of the curriculum. There is a lot of focus on health and wellness curriculum. Both focus on physical and mental health is inculcated in the curriculum. We are actively involved in CSR activities to synthesize social issues and to make children empathetic towards the environment, people, and community. We have been associated with many organizations and NGOs like Goonj, HelpAge India, to name a few, both nationally and internationally. The school is associated with Khelo India program. Look at these happy children who have won many national and international tournaments and have brought laurels to the school and their parents. We have many sports in school. We have specialized coach for all the individually for all the games who have groomed them to participate at all levels. We have specialized and our children have performed very well in many games like basketball, karate, taekwondo, football. In this era of digital learning, we use technological and pedagogical tools like WordWall, map charts, GeoEbra to make learning interesting, interactive, and more clear and effective to the students. Since we cannot have offline written tests, we are strengthened in the assessment process by using Aristotle tool, which allows objective and subjective assessment. It also helps in assessing the strengths and weaknesses of students more comprehensively. Parents, you are an integral part of the family. You are an important stakeholder in the school. Your feedback is of utmost importance. We regularly encourage parents to give feedbacks, to include in our celebrations and events as judges and audience. We keep inviting parents to take part in parent orientations. Many parents are an active member of the parent-teacher forum. So we have a lot of parent engagement and we really value that. We have always been into giving exposure to our children through student exchange programs internationally. We organize international tours and trips, Olympiads, and many more exposure is given. The pandemic has not stopped our zeal to learn. This year was greater as we connected with many nations through the virtual exchange programs. Our children were able to know about the culture of other nations and share their good practices. You can see these pictures that our students have connected with many people from different countries sitting in their drawing rooms. St. Anandram Jaipuria School conducts signature events every year like Founders Day, Melange, MUN, CompuFest, athletic meets, Grandparents Day to make children expressive, creative, and confident, which is very important for their overall development. We are proud to say that even in this pandemic, we were able to successfully conduct Founders Day, CompuFest, annual exhibition, all on virtual platforms, and they were a great success. We will be conducting Grandparents Day and graduation ceremony too on virtual platform. Children and elders, I would like to say, are highly influenced by highly accomplished people like film stars, distinguished politicians, sports persons, models, and social reformers. So we have invited celebrities like Sharmila Tagore ji, Kiran Kher ji, Abhinav Bindra ji, Shri Rajnath Singh ji to inspire and motivate our students to excel in life. The school has been associated with specialized organizations from different fields like media, IT, NGOs like FITGI, media houses like Hindustan Times, SOF, and we have been conducting various events in association with them to give exposure to our children. We at St. Anandram Jaipuria School aim to nurture happy and confident children by providing child-centric learning. Our endeavor is to promote creativity, environmental sensitivity, and academic excellence. We help inculcate a spirit of lifelong learning for our children to become effective change agents. So now I would request Kabila ma'am to take you through a day in your child's life at St. Anandram Jaipuria School, Vasudha.
Thank you so much, Sonali. A very pleasant afternoon to one and all present here. I totally agree with Varda that in this time of pandemic where everything stopped, one thing never stopped, and that was education. So here at Seth Anandram Jaipuriya School, we ensure that the children get the best of education. We follow a theme based curriculum along with a multidisciplinary approach and have integrated all our subjects, including art and craft, with the monthly theme. To make the classes more informative and interactive, the teachers plan activities that are child centric, age appropriate, and flexible. So we might have switched over to online teaching, and I feel really amazed to see how well these children handle their computers and laptops. They can very well mute and unmute themselves independently. Teachers are using several methods to help the children get to know one another during this distance learning. With the online classes going on, the children are getting into a routine like getting up in the morning to attend their classes, and it is a real good treat to see them eagerly waiting for their teacher. And this has really helped in building up a strong relationship between the teacher and the student, and the teacher and the parents. The children interact well with each other, greet each other, and feel socially connected with their friends. And all this has really helped them to get out of this loneliness during the time of pandemic. The grooming of children is happening very well, and the key developmental areas of our curriculum focus on certain domains like starting with fine motor development, where children are made to do some finger gym exercises, which helps in development of their small muscles. Activities like tearing, pasting, clay molding, cotton dabbing, fingerprinting, buttoning, unbuttoning, finger tracing in sand or semolina, and coloring, etc., are done on regular basis, and this helps in development of their finger muscles. As far as gross motor is concerned, it involves the use of large muscles like Vardha ma'am just told us. And for this, activities like animal yoga, stretching exercises are done on regular basis with the children during their virtual classes. And here I would like to ask parents as to how many of you all actually sincerely wake up in the morning and do some exercises with your children. You all can put your answers in the chat box. They also do things like catch and throw, dancing, hopping, jumping, running, etc., which are thoroughly enjoyed by the children and also help them in gaining control over their muscles and becoming more confident. Children play beautifully designed floor games, games that we used to play in our childhood, like Star Poor, Hopscotch, Hide and Seek, Catch the Thief, musical chairs are all back again. So, for cognitive development, the main focus is on how children learn, how they solve their problems, and how they process their information. We all know that children are curious by nature and understand things by exploring and problem solving. So, it is under this domain that pre numeracy and pre literacy skills are developed, which include one to one correspondence, classifying, and sorting. Playing with puzzles and mazes, problem solving, building blocks, matching, sequencing, and many more are done in the classes. The teachers have created their own games, which they have done with the children on this virtual platform. Links are created by them and are shared with the parents too. So we request the parents to follow this practice at home for the reinforcement of the same. We are even using tools like MS Forms, quizzes, virtual tour, story jumper, word wall, Alupa, and of course, augmented reality teaching, where children can objects multidimensionally, and which has really proved out to be very helpful for children and is being thoroughly enjoyed by them. The children at this age perceive the world generally through their senses. And here I need to ask all the fathers, like, how many of you all can actually identify or differentiate between flour, sugar, and semolina on a blindfold? This could even be done as a family activity at home. So while playing, the children see, feel, move, smell, and touch. And this is a sensory experience which our children get in the sensory garden, which has been specially created for all of them. So, activities like playing with clay, playing with sand, forming letters in water, feeling and touching games based on feel and touch, hard texture, soft texture, rough and smooth are planned for these students. As a practice, we advise the parents to hug their children every day to make them feel special. This would actually enhance love, affection, and bonding between the two of you. We have introduced activities like bringing the kitchen to the classroom, where the children have learned to arrange utensils, use cutlery in the right way. They have learned table manners. Flameless cooking is being done, like baking a cake, making bhel puri, making laddus, which were thoroughly enjoyed by them. Performing experiments and hands on learning are a regular practice, like experimenting with water, how does a seed go into a plant, and many more. We also have a multiple intelligence room where children use different tools for different types of skill development. Children are empathized towards family, friends, birds, animals through pretend play, storytelling sessions, and many more. I would like to share an incident where one evening I got a call from one of the parents mentioning that one day when he came back from office, his child gave him a glass of lemonade, which actually touched his heart, and he was so happy that to learn that his teachers emphasized on day-to-day value-based learning. We even celebrate Grandparents' Day, which is one of our signature events where children invite their grandparents to school, which enhances the bond between them, and they also learn the significance and importance of relationships. All the festivals are celebrated in school with great pomp and show to make them get the feel of the Indian culture, which enhances their overall socio emotional learning. Emphasis is also laid on linguistic development, where the teachers ensure that the child goes back home with a new word every day and learns to frame small little sentences on his or her own. For this, we have print rich classrooms, beautiful reading corners, reading corridors, and learning centers as well. Some of the innovative practices of the school include design thinking, where children come up with different ideas and the teacher is just a facilitator. The children are involved in creating things using their own imagination. We all love to be appreciated, isn't it? And the same goes for children. And for this, different inter-school and inter-class competitions are organized, where children are awarded certificates and badges to keep them motivated. So, dear parents, we welcome you to the school and are sure that your children will have a great time with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for letting us know that the pandemic has not been able to stop us from continuing to impart education effectively using technology. Learn as much as you can while you are young, since life becomes too busy later. Let's move on to our next segment of questions and answers. Please feel free to ask any question by typing it in the chat box. So our panelists are there to answer to all your queries, all questions. Indu ma'am, we have a question.
Yes, please.
My son is hyperactive. The parent is saying that his son is hyperactive. How do I develop listening skills in the child?
Okay. Well, to develop listening skills, my suggestion would be, as Vardha said in her presentation, that first and foremost, it is that you listen to your son, to your child first. Establish eye contact while having conversation. Have a relaxed and positive relationship with your child where he feels free to express himself. Play language games with simple rules. Have story sessions jointly with both of you taking turns in telling a story. Last but not the least, encourage and praise him for his efforts, because these things really help us to develop listening skills. We follow them in the classroom too. So I would suggest the parents also to do the same, because child loves to listen, wait for his turn, talk first, understand the instruction that is been given, and follow it. That
Thank you so much, ma'am. There is another question. The child doesn't sit in front of the laptop for classes. What can be done for it?
see, it is not so easy, I would say. uh, Even in a physical classroom, children do not sit. Parents are seeing them for the first time virtually, but we have been experiencing it from years together. Even in classroom, the child doesn't sit. So gradually that habit has to be developed. And yes, in a virtual class, we would request parents to help us there, because you have to have you have to help us to form a regular timetable, a schedule where the child learns to sit. See, even in a physical classroom, we have our prayer, we have the whole class, we are making them write something. Children don't sit, but gradually, by constant repetition of the same command again and again, they start understanding this is the expected behavior, and they start following it. But then, yes, if you give up, say, koi baat nahi, agar nahi khel rahe, nahi man kara, chalo tum khel lo, then it is a different matter altogether, because teachers also have a tough time settling them down, making them sit. We can't do it in a stern way, but that command has to be repetitive from your side. Initially, we were doing it. Now, since the child is at home, we would take your help there. So this is how it has to be done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Varda, ma'am, a question for you. How to use time out with my 2-year-old child?
Yes. So basically, it's pretty important that you know what has to be done in the entire timeout process. So basically, first and foremost, you need to, like I mentioned in the presentation itself, that prepare a designated place for the child, which is child friendly. You can keep few soft toys over there, and the place is covered with many things which are very soft to touch and which are not harmful at all. you know and then in that corner, when the child is at the, like, in the fit of anger, what you can do is you can tell the child that this is your timeout. And in timeout, what the child is supposed to do is child is supposed to be taken to that place, and child is supposed to sit there, and you just tell the child that I want you to be here for next 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, or whatever, on the age appropriate timing. You make the child sit there. And if the child is too young, and the child is not sitting there on his or her own, what can be done is the mother or the father, the parent, can sit there with the child in a very quiet manner. you know do not even just be there with the child. If the child is like 2 and less than that, what can be done is the child can be held in the lap of the parent. The parent can lock the child in front of his chest, and just be there. You do not talk a single word, let the child not talk a single word. Even if the child is talking, do not respond to that. Let the child calm down. Because what is important is, if all of us have noticed, there are so many anger management techniques which involve that, which uh, say that you need to count numbers from 1 to 10, or leave that situation for the time being. So that is what we are trying to teach child over here, by giving a particular time to let the child's emotions get balanced. Okay, we all go overwhelmed with our emotions when we experience certain kinds of emotions, such as anger, sadness, or happiness, or surprise. So when that overwhelm goes down, then the child is in the state of mind when the child can understand. So these are my simple tips and techniques for the child to enjoy the timeout. Yeah, thank you.
Ma'am, I have two questions. One is for a 2.5-year-old child, and the parent is asking that my child, if throws a tantrum and becomes adamant on a demand in a public place, what should I do? And similarly, a mother of a 6-year-old son is saying that my child has a lot of mood swings. So, how to handle without
I
being.
would say children are very smart. Children are very smart. They know how to blackmail you. They're very smart, I would say.
Absolutely. Yes. To answer the
For
answer
tantrums,
the
like
question. Yes, ma'am.
for tantrums, you can tell them techniques for handling tantrums, Vardha.
Yes, yes, ma'am. I am about to do the same. So for handling tantrums, what is important is that before you leave the house for any activity to be done outside, you have to set clear cut expectations that listen, we are going to get out of the house. You would get only one thing when we are out of the house. So if the child wants to have an ice cream, the child will get only ice cream, and then none other toy would be bought. If the child wants a chocolate, the child will get a chocolate. If the child wants a toy, the child will get only one single toy. And then be consistent with what you say. Many times what happens is we give instructions to the child saying that beta, you will get only one particular thing when we get out of the house. But when we ourselves go out with the child and the child has had something, or the child has entered the toy store, and then the child gets attracted to so many things, and the child wants this, child wants that, and child starts being cranky, child starts being demanding. So first of all, set clear cut expectations, and then be consistent with it. Like if the child is throwing a fit, if the child is throwing a temper tantrum in a public place for a particular thing, again, like I said, if the child is banging his hands on the floor, banging his feet on the floor, if the child is banging his head on the floor, what you need to do is you need to lock the child. Okay, there is a positions such as Vajrasana, in which you sit in open Vajrasan, where you sit a bit, your knees are apart from each other. You hold the child down in between your thighs, and again lock the child in front of your body, and be there for 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, till the time child needs to calm down. Once the child is calm, you can again go to the child's level. You can explain the child why this particular thing is not right for him or her at this point of time. And you can also say that when we get out of the house next time, you might get this particular thing if you behave in a particular and appropriate manner. All right, so again, set clear cut expectations, set clear cut consequences. If you keep practicing this regularly, consistency is again the key of handling children. आप consistently ये चीज करते रहेंगे, eventually you would get the results. Again, results will not happen in a day or two. You need to practice this at least for 3 months. If you practice it for 3 months, then कहीं आपको एक बार result निकल के आएगा जो चाहिए वो. So again, consistency is the key. All right.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Vardha ma'am. There are two questions
And
identified.
for mood swings, I would say, Sonali, for mood swings also, I would say this is actually a very difficult time for the children also. I mean, we are thinking of ourselves only, but for a child also, it's a very difficult phase. So keeping the child occupied in a constructive way is equally important. I mean, that is the reason we say school plays an important role. I mean, the child is with other children, observing his peers, learning to follow accepted behavior is done in the classroom. I mean, with the parents, I think they may not feel that they feel कि मम्मी तो रोज बोलती रहती है. But for a teacher, when the teacher says, they feel कि ये तो पत्थर की लकीर, I have to follow it religiously. So that is where the school plays a very important role. So, I mean, you have to understand why these mood swings are happening. So have a blend of activities where his energy is also channelized. At times they don't get to play some games. They feel they want to talk to you. You are also occupied, and you just tell them, "Beta, aap apne aap akele khel lo." The child, then naturally tends to have all these things. Have those mood swings. So that is the reason. I feel, observe your child, be very flexible, and school has an important role here, I would say. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, there is a question of two different age groups. Kids are now less focusing on writing part, what to do. And there is a mother of a 6-year-old. The daughter will be joining in class 6. Nowadays, she avoids writing work. as now exams are mostly of objective type. So I am very
This
worried.
is a new normal. This is a new normal. I think we all have to accept it. Yeah. I mean, we are trying, even now, even in pre-primary, children are told to write in the class and they show that whatever is written to the teacher also. But yes, there is a shift, I would say. I will not say that things will change overnight. Once the school physically open, it is going to be tough for the teachers also, for the parents also. It will not be an easy phase. I mean, mind it, like it's going to be a difficult phase. Your child would complain, teacher बहुत लिखा रही है, teacher would complain that बच्चों को कुछ नहीं आता. It's going to be a difficult time, but there would be a shift, of course, from written to this um, virtual classrooms. It is going to be a change. Activities will also change because the thought process has now changed. So there is going to be a shift. I'm sure to say that. So don't worry. Let the child come. We'll look after him.
Ma'am, that is what is the next question. Kids are not groomed much due to the pandemic. They didn't attend play school. Kids are unable to write or speak clearly. How are you planning to
The
face?
responsibility falls on both of us, the parents and the teachers. Both of us together will work and groom the child and make him perfect. Don't worry. This is what we are. Our experience comes here only. And we would request your cooperation there. And together we are going to groom the child. Don't worry.
Ma'am, one parent is saying my daughter is very talkative at home and behaves smartly at home, but outside she becomes very, very shy.
This is very common, even in physical school, we see these problems. But in classroom, when they see others talking, speaking, and when they get chance to participate in activities like show and tell, stage activities like show and tell, grandparents day, they gain confidence and they learn to speak on a public platform. So these things are very effective. This is what we wanted to tell them. They would feel ki show and tell mein kya hai, what is the storytelling. We have lot of interclass competition for the objective of grooming the child to face other audience and speak in front of others, because they are not meeting many people, during this pandemic. So they are used to those three members of the family and they're confident there only. But this is what we are going to do, once the school opens. Even on a virtual platform, we did not stop all these activities because we know they are very important for the child's development.
True. So I think this will be the answer for another question that had come up: how to make my daughter more confident, as now they are not interacting with their peer group because of the pandemic. So I think it will be a
Make her
similar
confident. No, we'll do that.
to that. True. My baby speaks very loudly, so I want to, work on lowering the pitch and the hyper.
वो घर में दो जनों के सामने बोल रही है ना, इसलिए आपको लाउड लग रहा होगा, क्लास में नहीं लाउड लगेगा. When there are 30 children. नहीं, maybe I mean she मतलब उसको क्या उस आप to hear her voice, her opinion, या कुछ बोलना चाहती है, शायद ऐसा भी हो सकता है. And you are in constantly, you're listening to her. कई बार आपकी तरफ से भी मे बी रिस्पॉन्स नहीं मिलता होगा टू बी टू शो हर दिस थिंग कि मैं ये बोल रही हूँ, मुझे सुनो. तो शी इज लिटिल लाउडर, मे बी, आई डोंट नो. देयर लॉट ऑफ कैन बी लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स हैपनिंग इन द हाउस आल्सो, बिकॉज वो अपनी बात को सुनवाने के लिए भी ऊंचा बोल रही होगी, आप उसकी बात नहीं मान रहे. दैट इज ऑल्सो रीजन व्हेन चिल्ड्रन ट्राई टू रेज देयर वॉल्यूम. बट क्लास में ठीक है, बच्चों को सुनेगी और बच्चे कैसे बोल रहे हैं. I mean, they learn. There's lot of peer learning in school. जो अकेले बच्चे को नहीं पता, वो अकेली है, उसको क्या पता क्या एक्सेप्टेबल बिहेवियर है. आई मीन इन अ ग्रुप शी नोज कि टीचर उसको ये बोल रही है तो ये होता होगा, इसको ये बोल रही है तो ये होता होगा. दे लर्न दीज थिंग्स एंड दे आर वेरी स्मार्ट. चिल्ड्रन आर वेरी स्मार्ट. दे अंडरस्टैंड what the teacher is telling the other children. They're listening and they're absorbing that information and following it also.
True.
I would like to add to that,
Yes.
it a simple practice such as, घर में जितने भी लोग हैं वो बिल्कुल सॉफ्टली बात
आराम
करना
से.
शुरू कर दे, बिल्कुल ही आराम से बात करना शुरू कर दे.
हम्म.
Eventually, eventually, like I said, the results would not come in a day or two. Eventually, after a month, or a month and a half or so, eventually बच्चा अपने आप से धीमे बोलने
It will
लगेगा.
start
Again,
following.
right, like Indu ma'am said, please make sure that you're paying attention to whatever the child is saying. यहाँ पे listening बहुत important skill है, जो हमें as parent भी practice करना है, और वो inculcate भी करना है child में as parent, कि भाई listen करना है, जो भी सामने वाला कह रहा है उनको हमें सुनना है, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल intently सुनना है, पूरे ध्यान से सुनना है. So आप ये both the ways कर सकते हैं. आप बच्चा जो बोल रहा है वो भी आप सुनिए, और आप खुद सॉफ्टली बोलना शुरू कर दीजिए. इवेंचुअली द चाइल्ड विल डेफिनेटली पिक अप, एंड बिल्कुल इतने सॉफ्टली बोलना शुरू कर देगा कि आपको ये दिक्कत हो जाएगी कि अब कहाँ सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है बच्चे की बात.
How much time do we as parents have to involve in the virtual education of the child? Kabla ma'am, virtual classes. How much time do parents have to devote?
See, Sonali, actually, at this tender age, it is very difficult for us to be expecting children to be sitting at one place for very long. So it automatically, becomes the responsibility of the parent to be sitting with the children. And we would request the parents to devote as much time as possible to them, because these are the formative years of a child's life. And there is a lot of learning happening in the virtual classes. They are doing experiments. They are, like Indu ma'am said, they are watching their teachers, they are watching their peers, they are learning from each other, they are doing things practically. And I think along with the children, those activities are being enjoyed by the parents as well, which I see every day in the morning when the teachers are conducting classes. So I would request the parents to devote as much time as possible and give
Moreover,
them their.
what we have done is, I'll just barge into it, that uh, in our school, we have a timetable where we have, three virtual classes, plus we give you recorded sessions, because we don't want the child to be sitting on the screen watching the screen time should not be too low for too long. Keeping that in mind, we send some recorded sessions which the child can listen to or follow. Whenever you feel ki at a stretch we make him sit for 3 hours, which is very difficult. So we have, we just send it across. You feel in the evening the child is fresh, you can make him sit with those lessons. Dance ka hai to he can dance, it is a physical activity. Games hai to games hai. Clay modeling hai, he can sit and do something creative by watching his teacher do. So we don't have virtual sessions for too long, keeping their age in mind. We don't want it to be them to be affected, their eyesight to be affected. So as a teacher, as a this thing, we are also responsible. आपका जितना बच्चा है उससे ज्यादा वो हमारा बच्चा है. The responsibility is more on our shoulder, and we want them to be very comfortable. We don't want to you know bother them कि हम आपके ऊपर भी हमने इतना डाल दे, नहीं आप 3 घंटा उनके साथ बैठो. We don't want to do all those things. Keeping those things in mind, कुछ हम रिकॉर्डेड सेशन भेजते हैं, कुछ हम आपको वर्चुअली कराते हैं. जो चीजें हमें लगता है हमें सुपरवाइज मॉनिटर करनी है और बच्चा एक दूसरे से भी सीखेगा, वो हम क्लास में कराते हैं. जो चीजें हमें लगता है कि आप भी करा सकते हो, वी सेंड थ्रू अ रिकॉर्डेड सेशन. So that thing is taken care of you.
Vardha ma'am, there is a question in the chat box. Like here, a parent is saying that his daughter will be in 6th standard in the next session. And nowadays she avoids writing work, and now even exams are objective type. So they are worried as to how will she cope up in the next session, as it will be a senior class.
So we have Aristotle app where we are making them write all the everything in class 6, like they are writing the question answers. Teachers are scanning till class 5. We have objective, I would agree, but from class 6 onward they have they write detailed answers. Teachers are checking them. See, we can't impose all the things in class 5 itself. This year the child had to adapt himself to the virtual classroom. Even MS Form, all the technologies, all the things that we are doing, कि आज Padlet खोल लो, आज ये कर लो, आज इस पे upload कर लो, आज इसको recording कर लो. The child was learning stage. Next year, I don't know what the situation would be, but next year, if the schools open, तब तो अलग बात है. If they don't open, तो ये रिटर्न वर्क हमने 6th ऑनवर्ड हमने नहीं शुरू कर, हमने पूरा रिटर्न वर्क करा रहे हैं. टीचर्स आर चेकिंग नोटबुक्स. उनके जो सब्जेक्टिव असेसमेंट एज सोनाली शोड यू, एरिस्टोटल है, पेड ऐप है जो हमारे स्कूल ने लिया है फॉर द चिल्ड्रन, सो दैट दे कैन गिव अ डिटेल्ड सब्जेक्टिव टाइप क्वेश्चंस भी उनको हम दें. खाली ऑब्जेक्टिव टाइप नहीं देना चाहते थे. विद दैट ऑब्जेक्टिव वी टुक दैट एरिस्टोटल ऐप. तो हम लोग उनको रिटर्न की पूरी प्रैक्टिस देंगे. और जैसे हम 10th और 12th को वी वांट देम टू कम टू स्कूल एंड डू, बिकॉज गवर्नमेंट इज ऑल्सो सेइंग, और स्कूल में भी विद फुल प्रिकॉशंस. ऐसा नहीं है कि कैजुअल अप्रोच है किसी का भी. सैनिटाइजिंग है, ये है, मशीन है, मास्क है, सब कुछ करके सैनिटाइजेशन का पूरा, डिस्टेंसिंग का, एवरीथिंग हैज बीन टेकन केयर ऑफ. सो कीपिंग दोज थिंग्स इन माइंड, द स्कूल, देखो जितना रिस्पॉन्सिबल आप हो उतना ही स्कूल इज ऑल्सो इक्वली रिस्पॉन्सिबल. So don't worry about all those things. We'll definitely look into it and we'll try to give our best कि बच्चा लिखना भी शुरू करे. Gradually ये साल सबके लिए adjusting year था. तो we'll give our best. Don't worry. ऐसा नहीं है.
And a question that is coming up quite a number of times, nursery 2021 will be online or children will be coming to school?
Pray करो कि हम लोग स्कूल आ जाए, मिल जाए सब बच्चों को और हक कर ले. We would pray, you know. But अभी तक तो देखो सिचुएशन लग नहीं रही है. As of date तो we won't say to start with. स्कूल पहले सीनियर बच्चों को बुलाएगा. It will go backward. So nursery would be the last class to be called to school. पहले सीनियर बच्चे आए, सब ठीक रहेगा. Gradually we will move down. तो अभी तो नहीं लग रहा. But I don't know क्या सिचुएशन होती है. Praying for the best, you know. बस our children should be healthy, safe. That's the only thought in our mind. बस यही है हमारे माइंड में. अभी पता नहीं, कुछ नहीं पता चल रहा.
Keeping our fingers crossed and hoping for the best.
Right. So any more questions?
I think
we've covered a lot of them.
yes, we have.
I hope this session was very fruitful and we were able to answer all your questions and give clarity on the importance of early childhood education, along with the virtual classes that are going on right now. To conclude this session, the virtual classes have helped to create a healthy bond between the school and the parents, and together we can groom the next generation and make them more responsible individuals. I would like to extend my thanks to the management. I would like to thank the management for their support, and thank you so much to our principal ma'am, Mrs. Manju Rana, for her constant motivation and guidance. Thank you, Indu ma'am, Kabila ma'am, and Varda ma'am for your time and support. Thank you, Varda ma'am, for such a fruitful session. And I would like to thank you all the parents for their participation. And I would like to extend my gratitude to the backend team for supporting us and in organizing this session. So I would like to end with a note, with a quote, in fact. Let us remember, one book, one pen, one child, and one teacher can change the world. So with this note, please follow all safety norms. We are in this situation, but we'll cope up with that. And all the best to everyone. All the best to all the parents who have taken a decision of making their children join school in the next session. All the best to the parents who are still deciding on it. So we do understand it is a very, very important decision of your life. So all the best to you too. Follow all safety norms, social distancing, wear masks, use sanitizers, keep distance. Goodbye and stay safe.
See you soon. See you all soon.
Also.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all the parents.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.